No surprise to you, I want to talk about 232. Just a couple of point of clarifications. So it's my understanding, and I would just want you to confirm this, that you are considering participating in the Global Forum on Excess Steel Capacity. That is under consideration?
I mean, we do participate, and one of the things we've asked people who might get an exclusion is that they participate and help us with that, and most of these countries do, by the way.
The recent Global Forum on Steel Excess Capacity held a first minister-level meeting last November, but you were not there, correct?
No, that's correct. I had no deputies in place at that time, so I was staying here.
I understand. Will you in the future attend those yourself, since the rest of the world is looking at this with incredible significance and bringing their ministerial level folks to the table?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't guarantee an all. I would say I think at that meeting, I think there were maybe 3 ministers. So it might have been a ministerial level, but I think about 30 countries did not send ministers, and about 3 did. And the 3.
But the one that I'm concerned about is you and this country.
Well, I understand, but I just want to suggest that the idea was that it was like this ministerial level. So you had Europe sent one, because it was basically around the corner. You had the German minister who doesn't have competence in the area, but it was good to be there. And I think there may have been 1 or 2 others.
Yeah, but the reason I'm asking the question, Ambassador, is because while all of those countries have irons in the fire here, you are the ambassador that's going to go forth under all these rules in 232, and I want you to do as best as you can for our nation and for my district, and that's my concern. And I believe that you can, and I believe that you will. I want to switch gears, though, really quickly to this issue of retaliation. In my district in northern Indiana, with the second largest concentration of manufacturing jobs in the country, there's a whole host of ag that I'm concerned about: corn, soybeans, dairy, pork, poultry, beef, eggs, tomatoes, and the list goes on. But half of the soybeans grown in Indiana are exported to China. Honeywell makes brakes and avionics in South Bend that go into Boeing airplanes. China is threatening retaliation against both. In fact, today, China's state-run Global Times ran an article alleging that the U.S. is dumping soybeans into China and calling for strong restrictive measures. Corn and motorboats are exported from my district to the EU. Both of those are on the EU's retaliation list. Setting aside the tariffs, there's an incredible amount of anxiety in my district over the threat of retaliation. That anxiety is shared regardless of industry because manufacturers, suppliers, farmers, and workers will be affected. Are you considering the devastating effect that retaliatory measures could have, especially on small business and family farms that absolutely do not have the resources to absorb big losses?
Yes.
In what way?
We are gaming out what would happen, what the most likely areas are that you would retaliation, what kinds of things that you would do. We can't be in a position where we take no action because of threats of retaliation. That's how you end up having an $800 billion trade deficit, which costs literally millions and millions of jobs in America. But there is a legitimate threat, and as I've said a few times here today and many times in the past, agriculture is always on the front line of retaliation. I said that when I first testified. Members would say to me, do you think we should be concerned? I said, if you're in agriculture, you always have to be concerned. Anything that happens is going to have, they're going to figure we can get it and do something on agriculture. So it's an unfair situation, but it's one that we have to come to grips with. And you have to think about counter-retaliation. You have to think about programs for farmers who are in this situation. I mean, there's a lot of things that are outside of my realm that have to be considered, but it's a serious problem, and we're very aware of it.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you. Ms. Sanchez, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr.